Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the yet to be named Jersey Shore Spirits podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Chuck Ricciardi,
And my name is Shannon.
and we are going to be going into a podcast that we're kind of just developing. We're not really sure exactly where this is going to go yet, but we like to tell you where we think it's going to go. That's kind of the special part here.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
Chuck and I, we do this really cool thing where we just start talking and we know where we want to start, but we don't know where we're going to end. So this is kind of the journey where we're we're at tonight.
we can certainly blab a little bit, so that is what you're going to get a lot of. We have a lot of stuff in our head, and most of it probably doesn't make sense to you guys, but it makes perfect sense to us, and that's
Absolutely.
all that matters.
Hmm.
So, we really kind of want to do this podcast. We're obviously getting ready to open up a distillery. We have some products that are out on the market already, and we think it would be a fun thing to kind of have some people on, some other distillers and maybe some people in our industry, maybe people in another industry that we're going to collaborate with. That is kind of where I thought this thing would go. Shannon, how about you? What are you thinking?
I mean, I kind of thought it was just like two dudes hanging out, talking about business, and then kind of veering away from it. I think, the way you and I met was really not involved in business at all, and now we're just friends that happen to be in business together, and whatever that business looks like, we're kind of just rocking and rolling. So I think this is really a podcast for everyone that's just trying to hear what it sounds like when two friends hang out and work and have families and do cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that actually says it perfectly. We're friends before we're business associates, and I think that's actually what makes the business part of this fun. I'm looking forward, excuse me, looking forward to getting this thing really kind of moving as far as the distillery goes. I think this is going to be an unbelievable ball of fun. I really think it's going to be just a great time once we get through the stuff that's not a great time, which we're almost there. Another thing that Shannon and I both are pretty passionate about is music. We're both pretty big into, bands, music, concerts, playing
Journey.
music. Journey, we both love Journey. I like that you wear that shirt tonight. I'm actually wearing the Crossroad shirt tonight.
Ah,
Crossroads
perfect.
Theater. So we're both wearing something musically involved, which is just completely hysterical. Yeah, so I think that is definitely going to come out in this podcast too. I can't see how it wouldn't. We are definitely both musicians who love to just talk music all day long. And when we're together and maybe have a couple drinks, we like to also sing a lot of music.
Oh, the high notes are coming out. They're
They're
never
coming out.
harmonized, but they're always there together.
Um, so I think that's kind of the gist of what we're expecting. What else, Shannon? What else are you thinking about that you want to kind of go over?
Well, I mean, we're on a journey. We've been on a journey for a couple years now,
Years.
and
Yeah.
this is really just the beginning. So, our backgrounds right now, we're both in our houses. At some point, we're going to be in different spots with different people with different goals. That hopefully we just keep checking the boxes and moving on. So, I mean, this is really something that is like a follow us and see what happens kind of deal. And we're hoping that everyone comes and visits us when they can.
Yeah, and we're both also pretty like passionate about just what other people do in life and where their kind of journeys are going. So I think that's where like collaborating with other people and maybe getting some other guys on the podcast to discuss where they're at, where they've gone. I think that kind of is part of this too.
Yeah.
I think we both are pretty passionate about collaborating with locals. And I know Shannon's talked to a bunch of Freehold people already. He's from Freehold, which makes it awesome. Same with me. I mean, I know a ton of local guys, and I'm really looking forward to getting this thing moving and collaborating with other guys. I know a ton of distillers, which is going to be fun. And I know a lot of guys just in every industry that I think in some way, shape, or form could influence us, give us some advice, give us some, maybe we do the same for them. That'll be terrific. I think that's going to be the fun part of all that.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you that don't know, which is all of you, we are planning on opening a distillery in Freehold in a pretty prime location. We've been working at this for 2+ years. Chuck, I know you've been on this path for a lot longer. How many
Probably
years
six.
would you say?
Yeah, it's
6?
probably like 6 years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has
Uh,
been, I've always been in the liquor industry in some way, shape, or form the bulk of my life. I mean, since I was probably like 8 years old, maybe even younger. Um, and this has definitely been a passion of mine for a very long time to get this thing kind of moving. So I'm glad that, I had a bunch of crazy enough people to jump on the bus and take a ride with me. We're going to have a
yeah.
good time.
Let's talk about the team a little bit because you do have Chuck and I here. We are 2 of 7 people in this group that are working towards a common goal. Chuck, why don't you tell us about some of the super group that you've put together here?
Yeah, so we're the Avengers of alcohol, for lack of better terms. We have like Shannon said, we have 7 guys. We have Mike, Braun, John Cellini, Ian Ruderman, Eric Gaines, and Jared Gaines. At some point, and I would imagine when we're really ready to start kind of getting into the thick of things, you're going to see all of them, or at least a few of them here and there on this podcast. They're definitely going to be jumping on, kind of freestyling with us a little bit to talk about different things. And once we kind of have the location started, which is just about to start, you'll definitely be seeing and hearing more from those guys and some other guys in our, that are helping us get this thing kind of underway. Because even beyond our team, there's a bigger team, right? There's the families and there's the friends and there's the just so many people behind us right now. It's great.
And I think that's the thing about this group is that it's the 7-person network that has the 7+ beyond person network. And I know when you were kind of dreaming this thing up, you and I were kind of just getting to know each other once I heard about this idea. But you had some people in mind for this group to put this business plan in action. What was your thought process behind getting the 7 of us together to kind of create this idea?
That's actually a great question. So I get that question a couple times too. Beyond the fact that we're all friends, which makes it kind of easier, and I know some of you guys didn't know other guys necessarily in the very beginning, and you've kind of developed friendships over that
Yeah.
time. Everybody has different and kind of unique skill sets that I kind of saw, and I feel like I still see some of that even maybe some people don't even realize that they have it yet. Um, and I think that's slowly going to come out over time. It already has started coming out over time. Some guys are going to be better kind of doing some of the hands-on stuff. Some guys are kind of better, out in the field, kind of meeting people and talking to people, dragging
Yeah.
people into us. Some guys are paper guys. They're really good at helping us organize and keep us. I certainly, my mind works like this. Organization isn't my strong suit at all.
The controlled chaos.
I am controlled chaos. I am 24/7. My mind is moving. I gotta hear noise to fall asleep. Otherwise, my mind keeps moving. But we got guys that are like, no, I'm not like that. I can read the spreadsheet, tell you what we have here and what we have there, and move numbers around. You need everything, man. Again, if it's not a team working together, then you're gonna fall apart. So that is kind of where this group came from. Like I said, obviously I'm kind of the central hub to this. I was friends with everybody, and then kind of pulled us all together. I really do like the Avengers analogy because if you ever watch the Avengers, like they all kind of don't get along in the beginning. Not that they don't get along, but they're all just do their own things, right? And then when the greater good comes, they all just get together and form that bond, and they're kind of like nobody's going to defeat them, and that's kind of where I feel like we're going to get them.
Now, I don't know if we should do this now because this idea just came to me, and I think we might spend too much time laughing, and we should get everyone's input here. But if we were each going to choose an Avenger
Avenger,
that we were, I have a good idea of who everyone would be, but I feel like we should save this for another episode because we might need 20 minutes just to talk.
Because I'm already running through some of them in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, he would be that guy. Like we definitely have an Incredible Hulk on the team.
We do. So I think we should save that for
should
next
be when
time.
everybody's on. We should go through that podcast.
But in your opinion, I mean, you did say you're kind of like the central hub, the nucleus. Would you consider yourself more of the Iron Man, or would you go more Captain America? I mean, what's your style here?
I'm definitely more Iron Man than I am Captain America.
Okay.
I'm definitely more like I'm not the righteous dude, but
I know who our Captain America is. I'm not going to say his name. I think he knows who he is too. And hopefully he listens to this before we talk.
I'm kind of curious who that is.
I'll tell you off air, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm more of the wise ass, cocky, get things kind of done guy than I am the righteous, everybody get on my back, I'm going to carry you through the finish line kind of guy. But
I guess given that most people want to kill you before they love you is probably a telltale sign of that, right?
Yeah. Even after. I don't know.
All right.
So I do love that exercise, and I do want to.
Yeah.
That could be a whole episode right there.
We're gonna come back to that. I do want to kind of move forward a little bit because I think we have the ability to just talk and talk and talk, and then once we see how much time we put in on this, it's gonna be a lot.
Yes.
We settled on Freehold as a location, but before we settled on location, what were a couple locations we were looking at? And even prior to that, before we even put this team together, where were you looking?
Yeah, I could do a quick 2-second history. So The original location of this, and the team was a little bit different. That was actually before I even knew you, Shannon.
Yep.
Was Atlantic City. It was probably right around when we met, actually. Um, that was a while back, man. And we bid on a spot, thought we were going to get it. Long story short, it fell through. Kind of glad it fell through. Then the height of COVID started. And we kind of put this whole thing on hold. Like the whole process just went on hold for years, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was. Then when we kind of regrouped, put the team back together, got everything kind of up and running, we looked at a few spots. We looked at Freehold was always an option in a
Yeah.
location, and we always loved that location. We looked at Red Bank. We looked at Brielle. I think there was Brielle. There was a spot.
Yep.
Um,
Point Pleasant.
obviously, Point Pleasant was a spot. Like we looked at kind of everything in the central, northern ocean, southern Monmouth County areas. That's where the bulk of us live. That's where the bulk of us spend our time. That's where all of our families and friends are. And frankly, this was better than Atlantic City. In the beginning, we thought Atlantic City was the spot to be. There was a terrific distillery in Atlantic City already. They really kind of developed during that time. I mean, they opened right before that, but they really were a little bit smaller. Now, Mark's a great guy and they have a great distillery. So I hope to have him on this podcast at some point. I think and I'm glad that we're not like kind of in his backyard making things more difficult for him, because he really is a good dude. I don't want
Yeah.
to, I'd like to see him, be very successful, which he is. He's a great guy. So we settled on Freehold. It just happens to be so close for all of us. I mean, I don't think there's anybody who's more than 15 minutes away from the
No.
location as far as where we live. And it's in a prime location. I think our thought changed a little bit. We were like, oh, maybe we want to be inside a city, but then we're like, well, some of the busier spots are on highways, right? So we're going to be on good old Highway number 9, which is the best. Grew up there, know it very well all the way up and down until you get, to the southern part of Highway 9. I'm not really from there. So that's kind of the history of where this is, man, and where it came and where it came to. But we did have a lot of spots that we were looking at, over years.
Yeah, and we settled on this spot, and I remember when I first toured through it, I was like, what in the F are we thinking? This place is massive. How can we afford it? What are we going to do? And next thing you know, we lawyered up, we made copies of the lease, and we
You're
signed it.
there. Yeah, so you kind of, and it's still to this day. I mean, construction really just started, right? In the last 2 weeks, we're really just doing some demo work, right? Light demo. We haven't even really started the heavy demo. I'm hoping that starts the next week or two. I know I say that every week, but I think we're just waiting for permits, which are like we're right there. We're getting a lot of comments now, so that's good. The distillery still looks, it's an old space. It hasn't been used in 10 years, but like if you just close your eyes and you sit in it for a minute and you feel it and you feel what's in there, it comes to you pretty quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk in, they're like, oh God, like what is this? And then after they're in there for a minute, they're like, oh, I see what this is going to be. Like this is going to be something cool. This is going to be something pretty big. Right. And I think over time, right in the beginning, everybody's like, oh, this is too much space. We don't need this much space. And now what's all the conversations? We ain't got enough space.
We don't have enough space,
We don't have
right?
enough space. Like we need more space. This isn't
Where are we
going
going
to
to put
work.
everything?
We're ready. We're ready. We haven't moved in yet, and we're already like,
Yeah.
we're out of space. So, and I hope that's a thing, and I hope we need to get a huge space to, to make up for all of our, our storage and all that kind of stuff. And I look forward to getting there, man. I think we're getting there.
I think my excitement kind of peaked early on. I mean, we signed this lease in August of 23.
2023.
And I remember we brought our friend Sean Pryor, the great musician and artist out of
Artist,
Freehold, one of my good
phenomenal.
buddies. And when he came out to get some photos to do the renderings, once he put those artistic renderings up and we saw them, it was kind of like, okay, Sean can see it too. And that's when it kind of sparked my eye a little bit. And now that we fast forward to some of our interior design and some of the things that our designer Melody has picked out and the images she's put together, that idea and that image keeps getting closer and closer. So I know I'm very excited about the space, and you're right, we probably are going to need more.
Yeah, right. Like and it's funny because I for I don't know how long, a year, Shannon, we've been calling it the worst kept secret in Freehold. Like we still technically have not announced it, right? To this day, I put out a post today and I hid the hat that I'm wearing because I said, if you want to know more about this, you got to email me. We're still kind of teasing it more than we are talking about it. but everybody knows about it. Like I go to liquor stores and bars and everyone's like, "Oh, I heard they're opening a distillery in Frill. This thing's gonna be
Yeah.
killer. Like this is gonna be so great." And I'm like, "Oh, you heard that? Like, where'd you hear it from? You know, like the word is out." So when we finally get to announce this thing, I think it's gonna boom. It's gonna like just blow up. Um, the vision is there, like Shannon said. Like the more we start getting into it and start, I talked to the golf guys today, and we talked to this guy and that. Like it all just kind of is coming together a little bit. I've always had this knack for kind of seeing something before it was there. Like like we'll do like a project on the house or something. My wife will be like, "What are you talking about? Like that's gonna look." And then I do it. And she's like, "Oh wow, how did you know it was gonna look like that?" Just kind of one of those things. I can kind of see the beauty before the beauty's there, for lack of better terms. I can see it, man. This place is just, I can see it. I can feel it. I walk in there and I can feel it. I can just breathe it in.
Yeah, and I know it's been a while. It's been 2+ years, and for anyone listening or watching, you're probably thinking, "Well, what the hell have you guys done in 2 years? You signed a lease in 23. Well, what's the deal?" I don't know how
And
many
welcome Clubhouse.
specifics. Yeah, I don't know how many specifics we want to get into, so it's probably best not to. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, we've kind of been waiting around for things that are out of our control to be resolved. So we decided to put together a different part of the business plan in which we have introduced 2 new brands to hit the market only in the state of New Jersey, which is where we are, by the way, in case you were watching from outside of New Jersey. And last year, April Fool's Day, it was April 1st, 2024. That's when we launched 2 brands, and I was afraid that launching on April 1st was going to be like, weird, bad karmic response that we would get. But we put out a bourbon called Three Brooks Bourbon, and we have a vodka tea called Get Ready with Tea. Yep, there's the bourbon. I've got the Get Ready with Tea hat on. You'll see the 3 colors. We've got a Let's Go Lemon, Pregame Peach, and a Ready Raspberry Lime. I'll be the first one to tell you, when you guys pitched this idea about putting out RTDs and getting a spirit out there on the market, I didn't want to, because I thought that we would be taking a lot of our resources and gambling. And me personally, I suck at gambling. If I'm not playing Pogs or I'm not doing fantasy football, I'm not winning anything. So, Chuck, you're the bourbon guy. I've always been the beer or gin person. Tell us a little bit about the bourbon and kind of the process of selecting, what we went with.
Yeah. So, like Shannon said, I've always been like a whiskey guy in general. I love scotches, bourbons, Irish whiskeys, Japanese whiskeys. I own a company that does whiskey tastings, right? So I've kind of always had that, that palate for that, for the brown stuff, as they would say. When we were deciding on a bourbon, we wanted to go something that was fairly mature, um, not like 10-year-old mature where we're competing in a market that's just really tough to like even just keep up with. Not that it's tough to keep up with, but it's tough to find people that want to be in that market. So we wanted like a fairly mature everyday drinker would be the best way to explain it. And we kind of tried a couple things and tested a few different blends and came across what we have now, which is a 4-year-old bourbon. It's aged in a char 4 cask, which is kind of nice, right? A little different, a little bit more flavors, but the 4-year-old part of it kind of smooths it out a little bit for you. Um, and it's a pretty typical profile, right? 70 or 71% corn, I believe it is.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so it's a middle of the road bourbon. It's nothing like crazy over the top high rye, high percentage. We're 43% alcohol, so we're 86 proof.
86 proof. Yep.
So again, it's simple. It doesn't give you that like kick in the, when for the higher proof or the higher rye bourbons. And it's been received really well. I think it's definitely going to be a staple when we open. It's going to be a staple for a while for us. It's been selling pretty well. Bars and liquor stores really love it. It does move on the shelves pretty good. So that is kind of where the bourbon came from.
And I'm gonna cut in here and put it out there, because I will take this as my bread and butter. We sat around this war room, or our 6-foot WWE table that we need to light on fire and body slam each other through, which we tend to do a lot of the times more than not. And we were just kind of throwing darts, looking for a name for this thing, and we had a lot of really good ideas and butting heads, and of course, we got the let's do something Route 9, let's do something Bruce Springsteen, because Chuck's
Yeah,
a big Bruce
that's
fan, and obviously Freehold. But we settled on Three Brooks Bourbon. This might hint at a little more than we want to, but Three Brooks Road is a road that is near and dear to my heart. When I was in middle school, I moved here from San Diego out to Freehold, New Jersey, and a lot of my buddies lived over in the development off of Three Brooks Road, and we used to ride our bikes over there. And there's a little bunny slope behind this building. It's more of a loading dock, but it's kind of like a little ramp. And we were all into X Games and Tony Hawk and Dave Mirra. And looking at it now, it's not even the biggest jump ever. But we used to go back there with my friends. We'd be playing at that building. So Three Brooks Bourbon is named after a road in Freehold, which will be very near and dear
very close
to
to.
us, very close to our corazon. That's heart in Spanish for all of you English speakers out there. The Three Brooks Bourbon has been going well. I think that we've got a lot of good feedback. I'm finding as someone who's new to this industry, we're all able to go and solicit places and legally sell this through our distributor that we use. And I'm learning a lot, not only about our own product and our own business plan, but about others and how it works not only in the state, but nationwide. So I know a lot of the tastings that we get set up, especially with our friend Ed that rocks with us and does some stuff. He's always coming back and telling us things that customers are saying or store owners are saying. In your opinion, Chuck, because I know you're the bourbon guy, for the profile, for the proof, and for the price point, for someone who's never tried Three Brooks Bourbon, where do you think this ranks, in New Jersey for bourbon?
I mean, as a New Jersey bourbon, or where do I think it ranks in general?
I mean, I want to say in general, but we're only in Jersey. I guess we'll say in general.
I mean, when it comes, there's a ton of great distilleries in New Jersey. And I hope, like I said, to have a lot of them on here and promote all of them because there's definitely enough room for everybody in this state for sure. New Jersey is actually hurting for distilleries right now. We're so, I think there's roughly 20 in the state. When you compare that to breweries, which there's probably close to 250 to 300 of them, it's crazy how few people do it because it's tough. It's not an easy business. It takes longer. It takes just to get the process of getting up and running, as you're hearing right now, is it's a very long process. Um, we definitely rank amongst the distillers. Again, not to I think we're definitely at the top end of the bourbon scale of the distillers. To be fair, again, we don't have our distillery open yet, so this is a bourbon that we are sourcing from outside, and we will until our bourbons are ready. New Jersey allows you to source bourbons or source certain things as long as you're blending them in house. So we will be blending this in house when we get open. Um, but yeah, we're right there. I'm looking forward to putting our bourbon out. Some our own juice that we're making and aging and doing all that fun stuff. But we're right in the middle, and even on the market, price point, we're right in the middle of that age statement for a bourbon. We're right in the middle of that price point. Um, and I think we'll remain there. We're going to definitely put out some other products once we're open and up and running and have our own stuff on the market. We're definitely going to put out, some ryes and some American whiskeys and for sure a few iterations of a bourbon. But this one is, I think we're pretty proud of it. We've done a good job of kind of turning this into our own for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a bourbon person or a whiskey person at all. Every time you would try to get me to drink that stuff, I would just make a face at you and tell you to leave me alone. Say, look, you're married, man. Come on, you're not going to have your way with me tonight. Uh,
And
surprise,
now it's the other way
surprise.
around.
So the bourbon's fantastic. As someone who's not a bourbon person, I have now become more of a person who will go out and try new things just to compare it against Three Brooks. I think Three Brooks is a fantastic spirit. I think it's a wonderful price point. And to use the word that you love, it is a very smooth drinking
Smooth
bourbon.
jazz.
The other product that we put together, which was something we wanted to appeal to all of the non-spirit drinkers, really, at least for the bourbon or whiskey crowd, is the Get Ready with Tea. And the Get Ready with Tea is our RTD. It is a vodka tea, so it's a 5% ABV black tea with natural flavor. We use real sugar. It's gluten-free. And this is the one that I think is a hit. There's a lot of teas out there. We're not going to name you. No free advertising here because we don't have enough money to do our own advertising, so we're not going to give it to you for free. But I think for a Jersey Shore local tea, this one hits pretty well. So, the one thing, I've never been into this game. Teas, RTDs were never really my deal. Now, again, dipping into this industry and learning more about what's on the market and what's out there and what people like, I think ours hits pretty well. Using that real sugar definitely is a moneymaker. And,
Communication.
yeah, I mean, the peach, you've seen our numbers. The peach is definitely number one in New Jersey for the Get Ready with Tea. Now, again, like Chuck mentioned, we don't have a distillery that's open, so we are not physically producing it ourselves. But we do have a little bit of a hand in the production. We do visit the partner distillery that we have signed on with, and we've been there a few times just to check out the profiles, make sure we're doing some quality control. With
And
these
to be
teas,
clear, those are our profile. Like we developed that flavoring. That's not, it's not something we
yeah,
bought or
and
those are our profiles. We
that's
had testing groups and we figured out what we wanted.
That's what I was just going to talk about. Um, I guess it was also a couple of years ago. I think it was around October. Around this time, a couple of years ago, we went to our partner. We got a few different samples. We filled out some paperwork in terms of what we were looking for, what we had, and what we wanted to change. And then we got a ton of samples made, and we were able to have our first event in our space that we have in Freehold, and we got about 50 family and friends came out,
Yep. And
and that's
we focus group.
yeah, and we were there for a couple hours. The restaurant next door, Clarizio's, they donated some food. Lemon next door, they donated some food, and we had a really nice night. And we kind of whittled it down to these three flavors, and here we are. And these two products have been on the market since April 1st, 24. So if you are looking to try these products and you're in New Jersey, check out getreadywitht.com or threebrooksbourbon.com. You can go to a store locator, type in your address or your zip code, and it will tell you where we are. And if we are not in your favorite retailer of choice, drop us a line, reach out to us via social media or our emails, and we would love to come through and try to get you set up.
That is the gist of it.
Yeah. So this is episode 1. There's a lot more that we want to talk about. And, we're going to be switching our scenery up a little bit in the coming weeks and months. The one thing I do want to discuss, Chuck, before we go, I've got 2 questions for you. One of them has to do with your hat. I'm hoping this gets out before the end of October. If not, you'll just have to get ready for next year. But tell us a little bit about that hat and what we're doing with it.
So this hat right here, you see Freehold Distilling Company. We have 2 different versions of it. I do actually have the other one. Hold on. This is the other version of it, which is the Three Brooks Bourbon version. And these hats are obviously pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer awareness is something that is near and dear to all of our hearts. We've had some family members, my wife specifically, so some of our Three Brooks family or our Freehold Distilling family has been affected by this. But there's no family that hasn't been affected by this. Let's be honest with you. So what we're doing right now is we're selling these hats for $25. $5 from each hat gets donated to breast cancer research. Shannon, I will tell you that I don't know that it matters that this gets out before because we are getting low on supply pretty quickly. Um, I was just there. There's probably less than 10 of each hat left, which is a good thing. And really, it's just to kind of show our support as much as we can. We did this last year. We actually just bought them and gave them away last year.
Yeah.
We had a Three Brooks kind of thing. And we got so many requests for it. So many people said, "Can we buy this hat?" And we're like, "Well, we didn't really make them to sell them. We just kind of made them to make them." So this year we said, "Let's make them, sell them, and kind of donate the profits to something here." So that is where we're at with that. Like I said, it was posted today, and I got a ton of messages. Shannon, I don't know if your mic is on right now.
Yeah, I'm on.
There you go. Okay. I got a ton of messages on it, so we are selling them pretty quick. I would honestly believe that probably by the end of this weekend we might be we might be out of Three Brooks hats.
All right.
Three
Well,
of
I
the Sewing
guess
hats.
we'll have to wait until next year. But as always, we do encourage you to donate where you can, when you can. There are a lot of great charities and foundations out there.
Yeah, donations don't stop in October. Early detection saves lives. Make sure you're checking yourself and going to the doctor and doing whatever their recommended schedules for whatever test you have to get, whether it's a mammogram or sonogram or anything.
Yeah. All right. This is episode 1. My microphone's been slouching down the entire time, so I had to mute
You're
myself
getting
and pick it
shorter.
back up. Yeah. I'm going to go out and buy some new equipment probably this weekend. Before we sign off, Chuck, this has been interesting. We live maybe a mile away from each other, and we're at
I
home.
can walk to your house right now. Yes.
Yeah. One question I have for you that we didn't discuss yet, which, everyone, as we go, we're going to be changing things up and learning, but I think this has been cool. What are you listening to this week? Give me one new album or artist that you've been rocking with this week.
So, unfortunately, as you well know, my children are big Taylor Swift fans, as
Oh,
is my
no.
wife. And she turned it on today, and I said, "Oh my god, I know some of these songs already. Like that's how many times I've heard this already." She's super talented. I am not a Taylor Swift fan, but she is a very good songwriter. Obviously, she's terrific at marketing herself. She's probably the best out there right now. I am also, as Shannon said, a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Deliver Me from Nowhere is coming out in another 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I can't believe how Jeremy Allen White has, in anything I've seen so far, portrayed Bruce Springsteen. He sounds very much like him when he's singing. He's singing everything on that
Yeah.
that soundtrack, so that's amazing. Um, so I'm kind of looking forward to those. As far as anything newer, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of all over the place. Like, that's one thing you're gonna learn from us is we listen to everything kind of all over the place. I was hitting up a ton of. I put in one song that I haven't heard in a while today, and like this whole '80s rock, uh, like playlist just came out, and I just was listening to it for like an hour and a half today, which was phenomenal. I'm a child of the '80s, and I love everything '80s rock, hair band, hair metal. Like that's really kind of my genre for the most part. I mean, I like a lot of classic rock too. Um, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. 80s
As
hair
we said,
metal.
you're going to hear a lot of just all over the place.
80s hair metal. That's the way to go. I think it's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that Bruce Springsteen movie. I think it's cool that recently, with all of these movies coming out about bands and musicians, I like it that the actors and actresses are taking it a step further and performing the songs. Like Timothy
Amazing,
Chalamet did a
amazing.
great
Not
job
lip
as
syncing it,
Bob
just
Dylan.
going at it. That's amazing to me.
Who was the dude who was Freddie Mercury?
Oh,
Rami Malek? Is that his
Rami
name?
Malek,
Rami Malek?
one of the best portrayals of like he. I felt like I was watching Freddie Mercury. Like he was really that good. That
He
movie
killed
was
it.
terrific. If you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorite like music genre movies.
I don't know if we talked about this one, but I did not see the Elton John one.
So I did. I saw probably about half of it. Um, I have to give it a little bit. I have to give it another try. To be honest with you, I wasn't. It didn't hold my interest anywhere near what the Queen one did. I'm a big Queen fan too, though. My band,
Yeah.
that is. Um,
No judgment here, pal.
um, I did see some of the Elton John movie, but I got to kind of watch it from the beginning because I kind of caught it in the middle and then just like, oh, let me watch this and see how it is. I don't want to comment on it until I've seen it like from start to finish. Kind of
Well, when that one came out, I thought that all those kinds of movies were getting a little played out. But the thing that turned me off the most is I know that Elton did have that concert where he's like wearing like a Dodgers
thing.
uniform and it's like sequins. And as a San Diego Padres fan, sorry, dude. Once I saw that in like the
Lost Elton
trailer,
at that moment.
I was just not interested. But if you put on the Lion King soundtrack, I am so down for that. They could have done a Lion King scene, you know? Could have been feeling
Yeah.
the love tonight.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of. Have you ever seen the Motley Crue Dirt movie
I
on
did.
Netflix?
With Machine Gun Kelly
Phenomenal.
was in
Machine
there,
Gun
right?
Kelly was great
Yeah.
as Tommy Lee. That was a great movie too.
This might be a hot take. I don't think it is in our circle, but that's probably the only cool thing he's ever done. No
Machine Gun
offense to
Kelly.
anyone. Yeah, yeah. Not a fan of his
I'm
music.
not like necessarily a big fan of his music. I thought he was phenomenal in that movie though.
Yeah.
Maybe he should switch to acting because maybe that's more his thing.
But again, he also hung out with Tommy Lee when he was doing the movie to get the mannerisms down. So, all right. Okay, he's talented. Machine Gun Kelly.
Talented actor. I mean, I've heard some of his stuff. It's okay. There's nothing of his that I was just like, oh, like I'm so into this.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good. I will say, give a little bit of a shout out to the new version of Sublime with the son singing.
Yeah, with Jacob Knoll, right?
Phenomenal. They were so good. We saw them at See Here Now. They were definitely the like every year I say there's one band that just kind of like whoa, check that out. I didn't really think I'd be that into it. I mean I was a Sublime fan when they first came out. He's really good. He did a great job. He was a great front man. Kept the audience going, and they did a cool tribute to his dad in the middle of it, which I really like. Thought was pretty neat too. Um, but he does a great job. He sounds just like his dad. I mean,
He does those songs well. He does sound like his dad. I know he does have some solo stuff out there too. I want to say he's got a band called like Jacob's Playground or maybe Jacob's Ladder. That might be too cliche, but he has some kind of solo work out there that I'd be interested to hear. But any of the videos I've seen of him, kid's just like super energetic. Like
a ton
he's
of energy,
just
ton of
I
energy.
get tired watching him.
So like just gracious for even being there. Like it really did. You enjoyed the night. It was a good show.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. I'm
Yes,
listening
sir.
to a singer called Kendra Morris. She's based out of Brooklyn, New York. She's got a new album called Next. If you're into Duran Jones and the Indications and their drummer
Oh,
Aaron Frazier, you're going to love that album. And the other album I'm listening to a lot lately, my friend Amanda's going to dig this, is Thrice put out a new record. Of course, I don't remember the name of it, but they've been around for 20 something years.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're into post hardcore, screaming, melodic singing, and great drums and guitars and bass, Thrice is the band for you. So the next time we get together, we'll have some more movies, music, booze, business, and something else that starts with a B. I don't know. Probably bourbon.
Yeah, and obviously the end goal is to make this a pretty consistent
Yep.
podcast. We haven't really determined if that consistency is going to be on a weekly basis, every other week kind of basis. I would say definitely no more than a monthly basis. But as we're getting into the construction phases of this stuff, I think the ultimate goal is to do some shows with video from the location as the location's being built out. I think that would be fun. I would love to get some people, collaborators, other guests in during those times, like to just kind of maybe we get the contractors in, or we get like I think just having everybody kind of like giving some content and some thoughts there would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I think we don't want to necessarily pigeonhole ourselves into saying we're going to do this every week. I think we've gotten more consistent and even trying in the
You've been
we've
saying
done
that for
probably
6 months.
we've been saying it for 6 months, but we've done two in a week, right? So we're getting there.
Yeah.
I would say right now the ultimate goal would be to get to once a week, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And if anything, it'll be fun. And we'll just fail until we don't anymore. That's the name of the game, right?
Yeah, you don't fail until you stop.
That's right. For more information, check us out at www.getreadywitht.com, www.threebrooksbourbon.com. You can find us on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram. We are not on any other social medias. We might have a TikTok. I'm not sure. But check us out. Hit us up for some questions. And if you are interested in some delicious cocktails, Chuck and I have revived our Drink of the Month, which is on our Three Brooks Bourbon Facebook page. Check it out. It's where him and I try not to make a jumbly video and start and stop, and he comes up with a cool cocktail, and I just stand there behind a phone and watch him and try to make him laugh.
For now.
For now.
And the
All right,
videos will
Chuck.
get better coming up soon. We
Oh,
have
for
more to-
sure. For sure.
All right, guys.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for sitting with us.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Take care.